Ladies and gentlemen, thanks again for tuning into the COVID-19 lockdown account. So today I've got Meite with me. He is a busy husband and father and works as a fitness professional down in South London. So Meite, how are we doing today?
Jerry, I'm absolutely awesome. Thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it. This is really exciting, so I've been looking forward to it, actually.
It's absolutely my pleasure. Absolutely my pleasure. So first things first, it is a rough old time for us in the fitness profession right now, isn't it?
Yeah, you could say that 100%. I think it's a weird time for a lot of people. I find that there's usually two camps. There are those that are really actually profiting from the situation, and I find it's quite a nice time to them. It's kind of a prolonged holiday. I mean, here in London, a lot of us have been what's called furloughed, where we're still receiving some of our sort of benefits and some part of our pay and that kind of stuff. For the people that are being furloughed, this is a good time. But for a lot of people, say business owners like yourself and I, it's a little bit more challenging because a lot of our income is essentially dropped. So for a lot of people, that means well, things are a bit difficult right now.
Mm, mm. As well as the fact that, let's face it, not only has our income and our livelihood been stripped of us, what we actually do, we can't do. So, I mean, I'm blessed. I do have a home setup, but so many of the guys that work with me and for me don't have that. They don't have anything except for, a few ideas and maybe a rucksack.
Mm,
So, how's
exactly.
your
Yeah.
setup?
Well, I guess what I was saying before we kind of went live is that I was doing one-to-one personal training before this whole thing started. And I was doing online coaching kind of as an on the side thing. I was never really taking it that seriously, but it was mainly available for people that wanted to work with me but couldn't see me in person. And so I was kind of forced into that, and I kind of see it as a blessing, to be honest. So my a lot of my income is actually coming from the online coaching now
Mhm.
because I've really buckled down and decided, okay, you know what, I need to do this thing properly and really deliver a good service that people are gonna benefit from. So that's what I've been doing. So for me, this has been a good thing in the sense that I've been doing a lot of personal development and looking at how I can be a better coach, essentially.
Mm. And would you find that more being from a place of accountability has helped your clients more through this time?
100%, because when you're doing one-to-one personal training, that hour is essentially for one individual. And so I don't have the time to be on my phone or on the computer asking how everyone is doing. But now I do have the time. And so when people are struggling, I can say, hey, oh, listen, John, how are things going? How was your week? Or what's happening today? Or send me pictures of your food. So there is that element of accountability. And a lot of people are finding that really useful.
Mm.
For the people that needed that kind of service, this is good.
Yeah, yeah, and I think, to be fair, in a way, anyone that wants to be pushing their journey to ideally happiness, let's face it, everyone that comes to you or walks through the doors of my gym or comes to a personal trainer like you, a fitness professional in general, or a nutritionist or anyone, the
Mhm.
element that they're after isn't that they want to get a six pack. It isn't that they want to feel like they've got bigger arms. They're there because they want a different element of happiness, right? Or a new path.
Exactly.
I think that will help everyone. That accountability is what is missing, isn't it?
That's exactly it. And I think you hit the nail on the head in the sense that the majority of people that I've coached don't actually want the six pack. They don't want the big guns. I think we leave that for the younger guys. But I think as people tend to get a little bit older, they start to realize, actually, I don't really want that. I kind of want to feel a little bit more confident in myself. Sure, it would be nice if I look a little bit better naked, but in a sense, it's kind of I think it's a holistic approach that I like to take and look at people in the sense of, hey, let's look at how we can improve your overall health. Let's see if we can get you, playing around with your kids, not feeling like you get tired in 5 minutes. Or let's see if we can look at, oh, what's going on with your hips. You mentioned you've got lower back problems. Maybe we can get you moving better. So that's the kind of stuff that I like to look into. And actually, the more people do these things, the more they realize that this is what's important to them, as opposed to just the aesthetic.
Yeah. Is there anything that is there anything people are asking for more of since lockdown? Is there anything that's different?
I would say that right now, people are looking to be more happier in the sense that right now it's a really dark time for a lot of people. Like I mentioned, you look at the news and you look at all you see is the death toll, and this place is in lockdown, and these people are not seeing their families and friends, that kind of stuff. So I think people just need a little bit of motivation, a bit of enthusiasm,
Yeah.
and a bit of a brighter outlook. And so this is what I try to give them so for a lot of them, I do Zoom sessions. And so during these sessions, I will give them a bit of motivation and kind of make them feel good about what they're doing. And I think a lot of people, that's what people need right now, essentially.
Yeah, definitely. A motivational push, just a little every morning. That'd help I think it'd help everyone. Which is brilliant. I think that's a fantastic service that you're providing as well, which is great. Now you said as well that you're obviously at home with your wife and your little one as well. So
Mm.
what's it like being kind of in a very close unit with a very no doubt hyperactive little one?
Oh man, I can't lie. It's probably the biggest challenge in
Yeah,
all of this for me anyway. I don't know about you because I know you've got your little one with you as well. So for sure, once she's running around, you probably will see her run around within the next 5 minutes.
good.
Um, it's hard when I've got my schedule and my schedule says, hey, in the morning 9 a.m. I got to do this, 10 a.m. I got to do that, and then the wife is tired and she says, hey, oh listen, honey, can you please help me change her nappy? Or can you please buy this? Or I'm like,
Mm.
okay, do you know what? Okay, I'm gonna go and help you out, and I'm gonna get back to work. So I do get a few curveballs here and there, but actually, this is a really fun time for me.
Mm.
I've never spent so much time with my wife and with my kids. So for me, this is good as well. Even though it's hard to juggle the two, I think it is possible so long as you're organized.
Yeah.
So for me, that's what I tell my clients as well. If you're organized, if you make time for things, things happen. But if you just let the day run you, then who knows what's going to happen. So you've got to schedule things, write things down and say, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to commit that time to whatever task it is I'm trying to do. And then you're more likely to get the outcome that you want.
You know what, as well, if someone said in a podcast the other day, I was listening to a friend of mine has got a podcast called the Mad Positivity Podcast, and they had a bit of, a serious contender in the fitness profession world, a guy called Paul Malt, who's, incredible. So they had him on the other day, and he said one of the things he likes to say to people when they say they don't have time, he goes, well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to get my Google Calendar up. I want you to do the same. And they'll go, well, I don't have one. And he goes, well, and I'm not going to say exact words because this is going to be a PG version. If you know about Paul, you know what I'm talking about. But he turned around and said, if you haven't even got a schedule, if you haven't even got a calendar, you ain't that effing busy.
Right.
Just thought, wow, it blows my mind just to think how quickly you can get shut down. And if you're not scheduling and you don't have, if you don't have to make your day structured like that, then you ain't busy. You ain't busy, and you clearly are. Yeah. So, I mean, that's a wonderful, it's a wonderful thing to have to be able to fit the time in. And as you opened up, you said right at the beginning, you make time, right? You make time for things that are important. And you know what? I'm in the same world as you. I've got stuff structured down, and then it's like the kids are a top trump. You've got all this stuff nailed down. So this time, this time, this time. And then when the kids will come over and just skittle it all out of the way. Kiddie, daddy, you've got to dress up as an ogre, or you've got to have your hair plaited or something stupid. But that's what it's all about, I suppose, isn't it?
For sure, 100%.
So is there anything that you're doing more of that, you think this is amazing as a family?
I mean, to be fair, before my little one was even born, I always wanted to be a father. I always wanted to spend lots of time with my kids and make it a thing and kind of, I guess, go against the grain, go against the stereotype of, dads aren't really around and things like that. I never believed in that. And so I guess from day one, I was always very hands-on. And I think something that really, really stuck in my mind was I was reading this book by Arnold Schwarzenegger, Total Recall. And in parts of the book, he's speaking about the time when his first daughter was born. And he said he wanted to spend so much time with her that he would find any excuse to do something with her. And so whenever it came down to changing nappies, he would always put his hand up first and say, I want to do it. I want to do it. And I thought, really, just changing nappies? But to him, that was father and baby time. That was father-daughter time. So it doesn't matter what we're doing, so long as I'm spending time with my child. And I thought that was really powerful. You could see that as really it's a really simple thing, right? But actually, I really took that on board. And so, so even with my little one, even when it comes down to doing little things, I try to make time for her. And when I spend time with her, it's really all about her in that moment. And I try not to be on my phone and things like that. So these things were always happening regardless. But in the sense of what we're doing more of, I'd say I'm taking more walks with her, like just me and her by ourselves. Just give mom some time to be by herself and not be mom, just be a human being for a minute.
Yeah.
So I think we get more time to ourselves, and for me, that's a blessing. That's really good. And now she's a bit more communicative. She understands what I say. When I say, "Hey, we're gonna go outside," she puts her shoes on by herself, or at least she tries.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's a lot of fun. That's super, super fun.
Yeah, I can resonate with that as well. We've got little things that, you know, I've got two kids. I've got two daughters. One's 5, 6 in the next couple of weeks, and Rosie, my youngest, just turned 3 yesterday. And I tell you what, when I first had Madeline, I wasn't interested in having a second child, really. You know, just that's the way I felt at the time. Obviously, the moment Rosie came, you know, the moment Rosie was conceived, if you like, that changed in my head straight away. You know, I couldn't wait to meet her. And one of the most amazing things to see and watch is the two of them being best friends during this whole time as well. And that alone is amazing. And yeah, a very important thing is taking them away so mum can be mum. Because I feel that as a, you know, I think that we can sneak off a bit, dads, can't we? We can run off and hide, or we feel we can a little bit easier. Whereas I don't think, you know, I think that's, you know, it's one of those things. But I think that my wife definitely feels that she can't run away and hide as much. So I make a habit of doing what you say, make sure that she gets her time to have time to herself as well. And that is so important. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And I think something that I found really interesting whenever I spoke to people that were successful, even speaking to my accountant, is you know, they always say after, you know, having long successful careers, the one thing they always say to me is, "I wish I'd spent more time with my kids."
Mm.
And I say, "Wow, that's really interesting." They say, "Yeah, I wish I'd worked less and just spent more time at home, just playing with them or teaching them things, or you know, whatever it may be." And that's something that I would like not to say in
Yeah.
20 years' time. You know, I don't want to have any regrets. If there's one thing in life, I don't want regrets.
No.
So whenever I do something, I commit and say, "You know what? I take responsibility. I'm going to own it, good or bad. This is how it is." And so this is why I really try to make time. And so
Mm.
if, you know, to all the fathers out there that are thinking, okay, what should I do? I don't know what I'm doing. Just, well, the best thing that you can do is just be present, just be there. Even if you don't know the ins and outs of fatherhood, nobody knows. Everyone's just winging it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So what does a child need? They just need a little bit of love from their parents or from the people around them. And then the rest just kind of falls into place. That's my belief anyway.
Love that. The presence is so important. That mindfulness, and it's something that I've been practicing recently. I actually brought someone in for my team to practice mindfulness for us all, and he pretty much came to the conclusion straight away that we're all exhausted. And you know, I made a decision to kind of pull some of the workload off of my team. And you're so right. It's so easy to just have one of these in with your kids. And I catch myself doing it. I'm not going to say I don't. I'm not a saint.
For sure.
But when we go for a family walk, when we do stuff, the phone stays at home. And it is so important to just be in the moment, because it just goes, right?
For sure, 100%. And on the topic of mindfulness, I mean, I'm the same. Don't get me wrong. I can't say that I'm not using my phone. I mean, this is literally my livelihood.
Yeah.
So when I get a message, I try to be as responsive as I can. But 100%. This morning, what I did as soon as I woke up, got out of bed, washed my face, and I said, okay, you know what? I'm going to go to the garden. I'm going to meditate for 10 minutes. And that's something that I wasn't doing before lockdown.
Mm.
And again, I'm going to go back to the whole, well, for some people, this is actually beneficial because we have time to do things that we weren't doing previously. So for me, meditation, I've always wanted to meditate. And I was like, you know what? Why can't I find the time? I wasn't making the time. That was the issue, really. It's not that the time wasn't there. I said, okay, you know what? First thing in the morning, I want to get out in the garden. It's nice. It's a beautiful day. I want to go. I'm going to meditate. And so if you want to be more present, I think meditation is one thing that you can do. You don't have to, but it's definitely something that I've been doing lots more of since lockdown has started.
I'm with you. I've actually, you know, I've invested in a coach for it, and someone to kind of bring me out of my mind, because I find that I get lost in my thoughts on a very regular basis. I'm also heavily addicted to caffeine, which doesn't help, which kind of spirals you. And obviously, you've met Bobby, who was on a previous podcast, who is like the king of coffee. So yeah, those are the kind of people I hang about with, and it does get you lost in your mind. And I think that to pull away from that and to clear your thoughts so you can get more clarity in your day, you know, it is so important. It's so,
100%.
which is amazing, you know. So let's move into some things that you've found have kind of like helped you. Any advice that you've kind of taken stock of through these times?
100%. I would say having a schedule for your
Mm-hmm.
day. And I know we spoke about that previously, but I really want to hone in on just having a routine rather instead of a schedule. I think routine was the word that I was looking for. So it's easy to wake up and again let the day run. You just get up and okay, I'm gonna have breakfast. Okay, what next? Or maybe I'm gonna spend some time with the missus, and then maybe later on I'm gonna watch some Netflix, and then maybe I'm gonna check my emails. And then the day kind of spirals on like that, and before you know it, the day is over, and you haven't really done anything that was productive or worthwhile. It doesn't necessarily have to be productive if you don't want to learn anything right now. That's totally okay, and I appreciate that. This time it is not necessarily a time to upskill yourself for a lot of people. For a lot of people, it's going to be just about stress management, about reducing anxiety. But if you're in a good place mentally and you feel like you want to be productive, then having a routine, just say, you know what, I'm going to wake up just like on a regular Monday. I'm going to take a shower. I'm going to put on some decent clothes and not just stay in my pajamas. I mean, you can stay in your pajamas if you want, but I find that putting on the clothes make you feel a certain way. It gives you that element of confidence that, you know what, I'm ready for the day. And then just looking at your schedule and say, hey, 9 a.m., I'm going to do this. 10 a.m., I'm going to do that. Even if it's just scheduling family time, I think that's totally cool. But just having your diary say, I'm going to do this for 2 hours, and I'm going to read a book, and I'm going to meditate. But at least just having that, I find, just make things more manageable, at least in my opinion.
No, totally. I realised the same thing when just before lockdown happened, and I got in contact with my team and said, look, we're going to deliver free courses online. Yeah, great, yeah. We're going to deliver free classes online, and I instantly made a rota, told everyone they have to wear uniform. They have to have a backdrop, one of these, which I gave them to take home. And then they're now coming back to the gym now because they're finding that they get an escape from the house. And if it's only us lot, we kind of isolate together. And I knew that by doing that for my team, although they thought that I was doing one thing, what I was actually doing was giving my whole environment and team a structure to
Mm,
stop them going by the wayside mentally.
mm,
And every single one of them has contacted me privately and said, "Thank you so much. You don't understand what this has done for me mentally. You know, to have a structure to follow, to realise I've got to get up and do this class or do this shift, because that the main thing they were panicking about was just having nothing. Obviously, I
exactly.
obviously still paid them as well. Um, you know, it was kind of a way of justifying payment, if you like, but more importantly was just to keep them going, because imagine starting again with no team, and it just wouldn't. It'd be a nightmare. That is so important. Having that routine, that schedule, that game plan, if you like. And
100%.
you
Yeah.
know, I absolutely love that. And you know, I mean, you speak to a lot of your clients. What's kind of the biggest? What would you say one of the biggest bits of advice you give your clients right now?
Um, I focus on keeping them moving. So I guess, especially because we're in London, it's a fast-paced city. People are out and about. They generally move quite a bit, and even if they're working in an office, usually they have to commute back and forth. I guess the average commuting time is probably 45 minutes up to an hour. And so when you don't have that, when you're on lockdown, well, all of a sudden you're not moving at all. You could be sitting on your couch all day long.
Hmm.
And so you've taken your step count, let's say from 5,000 down to, a couple of hundred a day. And so I encourage them to just get outside. Whatever you do, make time to just get out, see some green, especially now there's very few cars outside. So it's actually nice to be out. Even though I appreciate that the Prime Minister told everyone to stay indoors, he's
Yeah.
still saying, do get outside, do get some fresh air. Um, and I find that really helps in terms of staying sane and not just staying confined in your little cave, all the time. And another thing is just being connected to people.
Mm.
And so again, this is just down to you not staying in your little bubble and just especially if you live on your own. I think this is especially important. So I'm lucky enough to have my wife and my little baby here. So I've literally got lots of energy in the house, and it's impossible for me to go crazy. But if you think about being on a desert island on your own, there is nobody. I don't
Yeah.
know. I can't remember what that was, that film with Tom Hanks where he's got this like
Castaway.
little, yeah, that's the one with the
Wilson.
little basketball, right?
Wilson.
And he decides to draw a face on, right?
Yeah.
Because we need that as human beings. We need to be connected to other people. And
Mm.
so I encourage my clients to either call their family members or call their friends and just stay connected to people, whether it's on Facebook, whatever it is, but just try to talk to someone, even doing video calls. I think that's really, really good. So seeing the faces of people, their expressions, I find kind of keeps you going.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's so true as well as staying in touch with family as well. I found that very important at the moment. How are you? How are you guys coping in that respect?
Um, I mean, I think my wife is much better at doing these things than I am, to be fair. So she would say, "Hey, we have to call your mom or we have to call your dad." And I'm like, oh, you know what? You're right. I haven't spoken to my dad in a while. So
Mm.
again, even for myself, it's really easy for me to get lost in my little bubble and say, "Hey, I've got this work to do. I've got to email this person." And if I don't schedule in family time or time where I'm going to call my parents, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah.
As much as I love my parents, I'm just not that person. I know some people find it really easy to just pick up the phone and say, "Hey, oh, mom, how are you? Oh my God, let me tell you about my day." I'm just not that kind of person.
Mm.
So unless I set out to do that thing, or unless I have them in my mind and I'm not doing anything at that moment, then I can call them. But otherwise, it doesn't happen. So good thing I've got the missus to help me with that. But in fairness, I've been speaking to my family a lot more than I was previously. So that's another thing that's positive for me.
It's leveled right up. That's great. And are you using technology as well for the little one to say hello?
Oh, 100%. I mean, all the video calls, she loves it. She loves it. And so what the missus does is whenever she calls her friends, she has lots of other mum friends
Oh
and
wow.
they have little babies and, 2-year-olds and stuff like that. So whenever they see each other on the phone, man, they light up. It's like, oh, wow, oh, I can't believe it. And they scream and then they laugh. And it's almost like the other kid is in the room.
Mm.
Honestly, it's amazing.
It's
If this has happened 20 or 30 years ago, I don't know what we would have done
mm.
because I'm guessing most kids like to be around other kids.
Yeah.
Again, it's this whole community element, this whole wanting to belong to a group. And so I think I'm really grateful that we have that. Oh, she's putting her arms out to me. You want to say hello? She's acting shy. Okay, bye-bye.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Beautiful.
And what about you? I mean, what have you been? How have you been finding it coping with staying in touch with family and things like that?
So that has been great. We've been doing a lot of Zoom stuff, doing a lot of Zoom calls. We've done the end of the drive bit, so that the grandparents come to the end of the drive only recently um, to say hello. And we've done a couple. I was taking my nan for a walk for a bit, and we recently lost my granddad just before lockdown, which was
Sorry to
difficult,
hear that.
very difficult. But he was very frail, and it was in quite a bit of pain. So that is something we have taken away. That he's not in pain anymore, but it was still very, very difficult. And my nan, they're made of different stuff. They're made of the older generation, and we're talking not my mum, but a lot older. My granddad was nearly 90. My nan is in her late 80s, and they're made of stuff that I think only comes with age and experience, because her strength is beyond what I could cope with, and she's fine. She's focused and she's enjoying her life. She's got her routine set again, and although I know it's difficult for her, um, and as it is all of us, but mostly her, she is doing well, and it's amazing to at least be able to communicate and make sure that she's okay and dial into whatever she needs. But at the moment, most of the time she says, "I don't need anything. I'm fine. If anything, I'm probably getting in the way calling her." But it is amazing. Technology has saved 2020, in my opinion,
I really think so, for sure.
completely as well. And moving over towards the later part of this podcast, this interview, I'm not going to ask you the penultimate question just yet, but what kind of things are you going to take that you've learned from this time, or even when it comes to technology or ways of doing things? Is there anything that you're going to take for the future and you're going to go, you know what, that's probably going to be my new normal?
New normal. I would say, to be fair, when I mentioned about scheduling things, it's something that I was sort of kind of doing before, but I wasn't really sticking to. So I guess as a fitness professional, especially as a personal trainer working in person, when someone schedules a time with you to be trained, I have to stick to that time. So I have to put it into a diary. But that was the only thing that I was really sticking to. So if there's anything to do with personal development or meditation or family time, all that was kind of I was very wishy-washy with everything. And so I can see that I'm getting more things done now than ever. And it's just because I've decided to commit to what my diary says. And so I find that that's probably the one thing that I'm going to take away. And just slowing down a little bit. The whole being more present in whatever I'm doing. And so I find that before lockdown, I was very much doing a million things at the same time, but really not being productive at, not being really good at just one thing.
Yeah.
So I might be trying to read a book, for example. I mentioned I was reading this book earlier before we started this podcast, right? And before I would read the book and I'd have my phone on the side. If my phone is buzzing or if my phone lights up, I'll pick up my phone and find out what's going on and wouldn't really be present with what I'm trying to do. And now that's completely sort of changed. And if I'm doing one thing, I actually just stick to that one thing. And it's actually another book that I read called The One Thing. A really, really, really good book that I recommend anybody and everybody read if they haven't already. That also teaches you to be more present in whatever it is that you're doing. Just focus on one thing as opposed to trying to multitask. Because actually multitasking is impossible. All we do is going from one task to the next really fast.
Yeah.
Right? And what tends to happen is by doing that, the task that we're doing, we end up not performing very well compared to someone that had their sole focus on this one thing. We might do a half decent job, but I don't think it's worth trying to multitask. Just be really good at one thing and then move on to the next task.
Yeah. I 100% agree with that. The only way I can describe the way I was before lockdown is an internet browser with lots of windows open.
Oh man,
That's
I can
what
relate.
like.
I can relate.
We're talking to like 30 different things, nothing that would relate to each other. Nothing that relates to each other. Yeah, so it's not as if it'd be like Amazon, eBay, or stuff like that. No,
Right.
we're talking like, I don't know, the breeding patterns of whales, how to ride a bike, how to invent a time machine, nothing that correlates to each other, and then trying to do it all whilst being a parent. And that's what my brain was like. And it has been, I'd say, for my entire adult life. And only recently with some of the things that you do as well with the mindfulness techniques and the meditation, have I been able to at least close half of those browsers in my mind, which has really started to help. So I'm going to look up The One Thing for my own personal development, but I'm also going to put the link to that book into the show notes as well, because stuff like that I think would definitely help a lot of people that are just, in essence, being busy as opposed to productive, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so there is one closing question for you, and it's not too scary, don't worry. So if you go back in time, Meite, and you could go back to yourself, which is 9 weeks ago now when we first went into lockdown, the gym's shut on, I think, the 22nd, I think, 21st, 22nd, and you could grab yourself by the shoulders and go, look, you need to do this, you need to stop doing this, or you need to maybe buy this. What would be the big piece of advice that would help you get through, if you'd have known it right at the beginning, that little bit easier?
What would have made things easier if I'd gone back 9 weeks ago, right?
Mm-hmm. One bit of advice.
Oh, that's a really tough question. Okay. I would say I would tell myself that whatever happens, you should enjoy what the things that are around you. Just enjoy what you have right here, right now. That it's really not that bad.
Mm-hmm.
When you really think about it, when you look around, it's really not that bad. Just enjoy what you've got. And again, I think I mentioned this earlier that it feels like a really dark time and lots of people are dying, things like that. And if you want to focus on that, then the outlook is absolutely grim. All right, there's no doubt about it. People are dying and we can't pretend that that's not happening. But I guess what I choose to focus on, and I guess the analogy that I like to use with a lot of people that ask me, how are you so positive? How is that possible? Where do you get this energy from? And I say, hey, look, this is how I like to look at life. Let's pretend that you're in a really dark tunnel, or we're in a really dark tunnel. And you could look around and say, oh my God, it's pitch black, it's super dark. What are we going to do? We're going to die. Or you could try to look for that one speck of light. That's what I do. I look at this one speck of light and say, oh my God, can you see there is light over there at the end of the tunnel? I know it's really dark right now, right here where we are. I get it. But if we keep walking, if we keep at it, we can get there. There's light over there and we'll get out. So that's my way of looking at life in general. I'm a glass half full type of person. And so that's probably what I would tell myself. Hey, listen, just look around. Life isn't that bad. You've got arms that you can use to do all kinds of things. You can eat. You've got food on the table. You've got a roof over your head. You've got clothes on your back. You've got a beautiful family. I have nothing to complain about, really. All right, okay, I've taken a bit of a hit in my income, but what does it matter? What am I getting this income for, really? It's to have this. I already have it. You know? So I could come up with a million analogies to explain what I just said now, but I think I'm probably going to leave you with this one because I could talk for another 30 minutes about this.
No, I absolutely love that. And, I think that helps as well with a lot of the things that you said in the past about focusing on the present, being more mindful of your situation. And, it really isn't that bad. We're not going through the Second World War with bombs dropping on our heads. We're safe enough in our homes. And those of you that are going through financial difficulty right now, no one's allowed to do anything about that for a little while. And you know what? I think people are going to be kinder than you could actually imagine moving forward anyway. And everything kind of. But I absolutely love that. And you know what? I'm gonna end up closing us off there, Meite. And first things first, I'm gonna say thank you so much. Now,
Thank you, Jerry.
Don't go anywhere. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna close off to this lot. Then you and me are gonna have a chat off screen anyway. But It's been an absolute pleasure, mate.
Thank you for having me, Jerry.
No, my pleasure. So, for you guys listening and for you guys watching, thank you so much. And if you found that this episode has resonated with you, if there's stuff that you really did enjoy, please do comment below, either in the comments box, or please do end up using social media for what it's actually used for and the positive way it can be used for. And that's by sharing positive things like this podcast. That way other people can enjoy what you've just enjoyed as well. And you might even bring someone out of a bit of a dark hole or a dark place. Also, guys, if you do feel like you have a voice and you want to help me on my mad, crazy mission to interview 100 people during the COVID-19 lockdown, please get in touch via ABC Gym, or you can comment in the comments bar below. Also, if you'd like to get in contact with Meite himself, his links to what he does will be in the show notes, and I'm sure he'll be very happy to work with you. So, again, Meite, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.